Sam's a consensus builder. I mean, he's able to approach people, understand their needs and their motivations, and get them together and resolve the question.
He was that aggressive House Appropriations Chair, and I was a very modest Appropriations Subcommittee Chair in the Senate. So we sometimes clashed, but when I became Commissioner, we became great buddies and ultimately married.
And you don't hire lobbyists for commitment. You hire lobbyists for representation and influence. But Sam adds that icing on the cake, that cherry on the cake of enormous commitment and long history with the programs.
Sam is a remarkably passionate guy. And even back when he first got elected, this was a guy who was very passionate, no nonsense, and really believed the government could make a difference in people's lives.
There are people who can do things for children and families, but then there aren't near as many who can pull people together. People who maybe started out with very different opinions, very different viewpoints, and can pull them together and find a way to make things happen.
Well, I've been interested in politics since high school. I was in high school politics, and I was president of student body in college and that sort of thing. So I have always been interested in politics and public issues.
Sam and I were freshman legislators together, elected in 1974. I was much younger than Sam, and really kind of hit up a friendship very quickly.
I have known Sam since the mid-70s. Which has been a pretty good long time. And I actually was brought into his legislative efforts because I married John Phelps, but also because I was early childhood. And when Sam used to come to dinner with us, we somehow always wound up talking about the needs of children, and particularly the needs of children in Florida.
Watching Sam work the process was a civics lesson.
Sam was involved in every major piece of legislation that impacted children in those 14 years that he was in the legislature. But I'd have to say, upon reflection, and I think that he would want to be remembered most of all for the child restraint bill, because it was so difficult. It came up several years, and finally the year that it passed, it was a tie vote, and the speaker intervened because his vote wasn't counted, and it came back, and there was really, everyone was holding their breath, but it did pass. And look what we have today. I mean, people are very proud of the fact that we have child restraints and mandatory law, and it has protected so many lives.
Many people were furious about, but he has literally, physically, personally himself, out of his love and devotion to Florida's children, saved more children than we could probably count.
Sam Bell and Bob McKnight and I got together and said, we really ought to do something about neonatal care and set up some neonatal programs in Florida, which was not high on the leadership's agenda.
He was very involved with establishing the neonatal centers and early childhood screening.
My oldest granddaughter, Dana, was diagnosed with mild scoliosis through the program that Sam established in that amendment. Because it was diagnosed and dealt with early, Dana is now a very competitive cross-country runner and a very fine student. Thanks, Sam.
And we found some money for license plates over at Department of Highway Safety and said, okay, here's the choice between neonatal programs for infants or license tags for the Highway Patrol. And then we set up 6 facilities in various parts of the state. Long and short of it, we got the votes and passed the amendment. And I think it was because Sam was very tenacious in working the floor and taking on issues like that.
Florida was ahead on that, and we were ahead nationally because Sam understood the importance of that, and he worked very, very hard to see that that legislation passed, that those special programs were funded.
Florida had no university-level public health training program at the time, so he went to work again.
He had a real passion for public health and established the College of Public Health at the University of South Florida. And he still chairs the College of Public Health.
Last fall, the college celebrated its 25th anniversary, having graduated over 3,000 public health professionals, generated over $275 million in research funding. It is now one of the nation's finest public health programs.
It also wasn't just kids. I mean, it was neonatal to elders to public health. And public health is such a critical component of child care.
That program ultimately was adopted by later governor, Governor Childs, taken to the Clinton administration, and today is the SCHIP program that we all know and love, because it's absolutely important if kids are going to have a viable early childhood education, that they have a healthy childhood education.
You know, he dealt with many issues, economic issues, issues that were a part of every facet of this huge state. Children were his little special thing that he did.
Sam Bell is simply one of the finest Floridians I know. A man who is ferocious on behalf of a good cause. A man who is savvy in the best spirit of the legislature and government. A man with a long record of public service.
And many families don't even know who he is, and probably many of you out there in the audience don't know who he is, because he's kind of a quiet warrior.
You don't get big campaign contributions for doing it, but you get lots of hugs, and that's always been good enough for Sam.
He just is an amazing individual.
He works really hard. He is not a prima donna. He is a member of the team and will do whatever it takes for kids. He's a lot of fun to work with. He is just indefatigable, which is really probably the best quality in a lobbyist, is never giving up.
He campaigns, pulls money across the aisle between Republicans and Democrats. He's admired and respected by both sides, and fights still in the legislature, not only in Florida, but nationally.
He is the package when you're talking about a public policy person and a great human being, a decent, kind person.
There is no one I would rather have at my side on behalf of children than Sam Bell.
He's dependable. He's honest and dependable.
Thanks, my dear friend, for all you have done, and congratulations on this well-deserved reward.